Hello everyone, and welcome to the belated third year of LotusClan. I'm sad! This one is slightly differently formatted than the rest. I decided to try out the lineup style, where it's one canvas recorded in segments. However, I'm not going to be doing it exactly like this time due to difficulties it caused during the editing process. Rather, I'm going to combine this method and my previous method. You'll see in Year 4. Like Year 2, we're starting off with an animatic. This takes place during the first 2 moons of the year. Darkness. That was what surrounded Magnolia Paw, lost in a near pitch-dark forest, the ground muddy and broken up by streams and puddles of a thick black oil and jutting tree roots. She had dreamed of this place before, when she made the mistake of sleeping too close to her brother. She had wandered the maze of trees alone until she inevitably woke up, her paws scratched and sore from what she thought was rough sleep. But she wasn't alone this time. Another cat had found her, roaming aimlessly, her father. Gullfeather guided her through the forest, showing her faint paths in the ground. He told her that she was gifted to be able to come here. Her brother Hornetpaw was gifted too, but he was uncooperative. He held a grudge against him for no reason, and spurned his talents to spite him. Magnolia Paw could be different, he said. She just needed to train with him, and he'd even introduce her to some acquaintances he'd made. A few nights later, she found Hornetpaw, and they got in an argument. Hornetpaw disapproved of her even being there, and she snapped that he had no place to judge her. They didn't even speak for moons after. He even. But alas, now that I've had my fun, it's time for our deaths this year. First off is the 16-moon-old Mapleflower, our youngest death so far. She literally didn't have a chance to do anything, having died on the very first time skip of Frostbite. Rhinebreeze was looking after her on that same moon, so I interpreted that as her having guided her to StarClan. And for our other death, the 26-moon-old Nutstone, and I am devastated. In the first moon of the year, she and Lightning Burst became a couple! She got an apprentice, only for her to die 2 moons later when her patrol, her apprentice, and another mentor and apprentice, blood will be on the screen in 3, 2, 1, encountered a pack of wolves. Everyone else got away, but she was killed. The image is off the screen. Oh yeah, and I drew Ferretfoot with her even though he was already dead, because I felt bad for her. Fortunately, that's all of our deaths for this year. Now for the living. Crooked Star is now Elder Age, but she's still going at 131 moons, and I didn't catch exactly when, but her personality switched from charismatic to childish, something I'm chalking up to her getting more petty and less patient in her old age. She's also gotten kind of mean? She was judgmental towards Gyoza while she was grieving her dead children. I'm thinking she's going to be a lot less accepting of and a lot harsher towards kitty pets from here on out, thinking them unfit for clan life since Gyoza, in her eyes, didn't contribute much before retiring, and both of her kits died young. Next up, Rosie Rose, who has been concerningly violent this year. She picked fights at every opportunity, focused way too much on battle training, and was consistently pumped up for quote-unquote upcoming battles, and she's been noticing Crooked Star's decline too. I wouldn't be surprised if she were to try and convince her to retire early. Let her take over. Or just straight up take her out herself. I don't want to cast aspersions, but I'm suspicious of her motives. You know? This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but Gullfeather is in fact still terrible. First patrol of the year he was asking Yellow Leopard if she'd considered her own mortality, and he blamed everyone else when things went wrong, like blaming time quote-unquote distracting him for an unsuccessful herb hunt. And of course, the elephant in the room. He's begun manipulating Magnolia in the dark forest, turning her against her brother and introducing her to cats he's met there. I'm sure only good things can come of that. Heavy sarcasm. Oh yeah, and he got kidnapped very briefly by 2 Legs and ended up with a rainbow bell collar. It actually happened right before a game crash. It was the only thing I really caught, and it was too good not to code back in. lighter news, Time Paw finally got her full name, Time Acorn, and immediately into less happy news, she did not take her sister's death well, hoarding the materials from her old nest in an attempt to hold on to something, anything left of her. Especially since she's a medicine cat, she feels like Mapleflower's death is partially on her, that she could have done more to save her, and because of her distraction, she couldn't properly interpret a vision sent from StarClan, a vision of cats surrounded by canine teeth and claws, and was unable to warn Nutstone about the wolves that would go on to kill her. So yeah, this girl can fit so much guilt in her. Next up, we got a new medicine cat. I hadn't mentioned her before, but she was originally met as a loner named Bluff at some point. I don't quite remember when, probably during year 1. She joined Moon 33 and changed her name to Velvet Clover, and she is in fact a trans girl. She's taken well to being in the clan, doing really well bringing in herbs even in harsh weather, though she seems to struggle with the more spiritual aspects of the job. Maybe she's an atheist? Who knows? Our current oldest warrior is Rebelgorse, who's at the 100 moon mark. He spent a lot of time trying to set a good example for others and taking on leading roles, but between you and me, I think he's trying to impress one of his crushes, of which he's got 2 right now. Oriole and Gyoza. Personally, I'm rooting for him and Oriole. They'd be cute together, and I don't think Gyoza could really emotionally handle being in a relationship right now. Both are acquaintance, though, so we'll see what happens. Now for Prance Shimmer, who was kind of on the sidelines this year, which was nothing new for her, I think I'm just gonna have to accept the fact that she's a permanent side character. For some bizarre reason, though, she has developed a crush on Gullfeather, of all cats, and she's not even the only one romantically interested in him. Hell, someone confessed to him. Does he have some hidden charisma I'm not privy to? What is going on here? Why does everyone like the evil stinky man so much? Anyways, Boarch Spot. She was caught breaking the warrior code multiple times this year, and from her other statuses, I'm pretty confident it was her secretly taking food from 2 legs. Aside from that, she headed a bunch of patrols, helped lead away a large dog, helped deal with a new badger, and was overall generally helpful. So aside from those risky actions, she's pretty good in the clan's books. They just wish she, wouldn't. Next up, Oriole. First things, he was given one of Hazyfrost's kits as an apprentice, or more accurately, they insisted he be their mentor, he accepted, and Crooked Star approved. And can I just say I love this man so much. Sadly, he and his apprentice were on the ill-fated patrol where Nutstone died, but afterwards he was telling the apprentices tall tales, and I like to think he was giving exaggerated recountings of her feats to honor her memory. He also comforted his daughter Weedpaw when she was feeling like a failure, and returned lost WeaselClan kits back to their home camp. He was being watched by a dark forest cat with a sly smiles, though, so, please leave him alone. He's just trying to live his best life. Goosescar had kind of a mixed year. Her patrol accidentally scared off a friendly kitty pet named Salmon, and she was part of a patrol that got overwhelmed when there were more rats nesting in an abandoned 2-leg den than expected. She also still doesn't know one of her sons is, a murderer. But aside from that, it was just business as usual. Nothing really interesting to report on. Hazyfrost, on the other hand, has been getting into trouble recently. She and Owlsight had another kit together, Thistle Kit, but instead of keeping him and raising him, Hazyfrost kept him a secret, then took him to StrikeClan to be raised there once he was weaned. He's an apprentice now, and he hasn't seen or spoken to her since that night. So, yeah. Not the best decision-making from her there. She was also in the unusually violent cat squad this year, chasing out several trespassing rogues. I wonder if she's trying to make up for going behind the clan's back to improve her loyalty? Next up is Lightning Burst, my tragic bisexual. Her first crush rejected her, then died, then her first mate died too. She has another crush now, and it is requited, but that cat then got with someone else. Her love life is an absolute shambles, you guys. Shambles. On the bright side, she was granted an apprentice at the very beginning of the year, and honestly, good mentor-apprentice combo there. They got on really well, and though he ended up graduating late, it was because Lightning Burst was out of commission on him for a bit with an injury, not because of any failings in either of their parts. That's where the new scar came from, by the way. And she continued to be supportive of him even after he became a full warrior. Though I think she might be a bit disappointed right now because of a certain decision he made. We'll get there. Weevil Stem, as you'll know from last year, finished up Magnolia Paw's trainings after Ferretfoot's untimely death. Magnolia was pretty much finished with her training anyway, so it wasn't super long. They got much of Porcupine together, though. I think Weevil Stem recognized that she was doing well already as far as training went, and mostly just needed emotional support. After that, she was given Nutstone's apprentice to train, and I'm starting to notice a pattern here. She also got an unusual vision from StarClan, a dream about a bird and a spider perched upon a tree with dead, withered leaves, all three with the same striking pattern. She told Rosie Rose about it, who passed it on to the medicine cats, but no one knows exactly what it means yet. Next up, Copswisp. She had an excellent time hunting this year, less so with outsiders. She and Hornetpaw failed to convince a loner named Gale to join, and tried to rescue a kitty pet who had been abandoned by their two legs, but was too late. I think for now she's going to be focusing on the cats in the clan to avoid that kind of pain again. That said, I do think she's interested in taking on another apprentice. She interacted a lot with the younger cats, and I think she just likes teaching. Guys, don't panic, but I think Pansyfog might be losing it a little bit, and other cats are starting to pick up on it. I think Rhymebrace might be haunting him like a telltale heart. Blood warning in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, not great. I think he's realized that StarClan can communicate with the living and has consequently become very afraid of getting caught. Images off the screen. He's been talking to himself and was more on edge this year, and his clanmates have noticed, though they haven't put the pieces together of what's going on. Piperdeer is next, and he's made some questionable decisions, I'm just gonna say. He decided to get with, of all cats, Gullfeather. Bad taste, but he is old enough, even if the age gap is a bit off-putting. He was needlessly aggressive, both to his clanmates and to their neighbors, acting visibly hostile when border patrols met, and he's been closer with his murderous brother than his not murderous sisters. Just all around, kind of an asshole. Do better. Hatchspeckle. Oh, poor Hatchspeckle. He had a claw wound at the beginning of the year, which got infected, and then began festering. He was injured for literally half the year, though his infection cleared up a moon before he was fully healed. It probably wasn't helping that he was still trying to work, doing training and whatnot, and he didn't have much of a better time after that. Someone was watching him with malice in his eyes, and he got yellow cough not long after, finishing the year still afflicted. Crouchsnout was another cat with a mixed year. Though he handled Mapleflower's death better than Time Acorn, he was still pretty deeply affected by it. He was just better at hiding it. Fortunately for him, he didn't have a super eventful year beyond that. The usual ups and downs. Next up is Cherrystripe, who I completely missed was a long-haired cat the last time because she still had her apprentice sprite. Oops! Anyway, she's been a fail girl this year. She accidentally followed her own paw prints thinking they were an intruder 2 separate instances, got trapped under branches, kept accidentally catching diseased prey, the works. Thankfully no one got sick or died, but still, get it together, girl, please! And despite all that, she still felt she was meant for something greater. Bless her heart. Next up is Magnolia Paw, now Magnolia Moss. As you saw in the intro animatic, she's gotten herself in a bit of trouble. Turns out those terrible dreams were her accidentally ending up in the Dark Forest thanks to her brother's connection to it. And now she's met Gullfeather there, and he used her desire to get him to pay attention to her to manipulate her. And worse, it's caused her to develop a small but growing dislike towards Hornet, which led to them bickering on patrol and getting scolded by Rosie Rose. And the aforementioned Hornet Paw, now Hornet Spots, who has no spots. Also, you might have noticed I've given him a new marking. I've decided that the two weren't adopted by Gullfeather. It was a lie he told to cover up the fact he had a fling with Carnation Jay, their mother, which ended up with her getting pregnant, meaning they're his kids biologically. Anyway, back to Hornet Spots. He is aware that Magnolia Moss can go to the Dark Forest, and he's aware that Gullfeather is manipulating her, and he's not happy about it. In-game, his relationship with his father is literally non-existent. He straight up doesn't appear on the chart. He has a strong sense of morals and will outright refuse orders if they conflict with them, so I'm interested to see how things play out. He and Magnolia Moss seem to be taking on a sort of main character status at the moment. And next up are two of Hazyfrost's now fully named kits, starting with Rosebird. She was apprenticed to Nutstone at the beginning of the year, hoping to hunt first and feed the clan. On her first patrol, Nutstone led her through an initially tense meetup with LotusClan, smoothing things over and ending the interaction on a positive note. Unfortunately, she along with her sister Daisypaw both witnessed Nutstone's death just 2 moons later, and she was re-apprenticed to Weevil Stem. Directly after the incident, she was considering running away, and was part of a fumbled encounter with a Weasel Clan patrol at the border, worsening relations. After becoming a warrior, she was also seen borderline fighting with a LotusClan cat. She's charismatic, but I suspect she uses that charisma to conceal her myriad internal issues. And now for the aforementioned sister, now named Daisyjaw. She started the year by insisting her mentor be Oriole, who accepted, and the two had an extremely successful first training session, working on coordinated battle techniques, and she proudly took in the praise she was given. Witnessing the death of her sister's mentor took a toll on her, of course, but she coped with it a lot better than Rose, and bounced back pretty quickly. And she was on a separate unpleasant patrol regarding Weasel Clan, where Hornet Spots was openly aggressive towards the other cats, who reported it back to their leader, as well as catching Hornet Spots sneaking prey on patrol, promising not to tell as long as he took on some of her chores. And now for the brand newly named Waitsap. If anyone's a contender for a new prophecy cat, it's her. She has friendships with almost every StarClan cat, including those who died before she was even born, including the StarClan guide Floodpaw, and including a cat who I coded in to be an ancient, long-dead ancestor of the clan. I genuinely have no idea how this happened, but she scares me. What does she know? We don't currently have any apprentices, so on to the elders. Starting with Shadow Willow, still going strong at 152 moons. And can I just say, I find it really funny that the game assigned him the strict personality and then he just isn't. Like, even a little bit. He is still apparently going to gatherings despite being retired. He's just doing things. Slay, Grandpa. And for completely opposite energy levels, the now retired Gyoza. Both of her children are dead and she's depressed. She retired the same moon Nutstone died, and while time skip events are presented before patrols, I've made the decision that the latter happened before the former, and what led to it occurring. A combination of her old age and the grief of losing both of her kits in such a short time span. At least she's not alone in the Elder's Den. Shadow Willow is there for her, and her other claymates make sure she's taking care of herself. And now for the nursery. You may have noticed that 2 cats have been conspicuously missing from the lineup. Well, here's why. starting with Ploversky, who spontaneously brought in 4 kits on the last time skip of the year when I had enabled outsider mates for 1 moon to see what would happen. The kits' parents were outsiders, either a loner or a member of one of 3 nearby rogue groups. Though, given his age, the mother is probably pretty young herself, most likely the same age or a moon older, 17 or 18 moons. Going back in time, he was apprenticed to Lightning Burst, who chased off a trespassing rogue in front of him on their first patrol together. After that, he had a pretty normal apprenticeship, though he did graduate late. Notably, after he became a warrior, Hornet Spots lectured him on the warrior code, and not long after that he made a show of chasing a rogue off the territory. Suspicious. His kits, being newborns as of the end of the year, don't have much going on yet. There's the self-conscious Primrose kit and Worm kit, the attention-seeking Tarantula kit, and the impulsive Silk kit. And finally, the last on the lineup, Yellow Leopard, who on the same moon as Ploversky brought in kits, announced she was pregnant. And I played a moon ahead to see what the kits would look like. They're half-clan. I still haven't decided who the other parent is. There aren't many suitable cats within her age range, but by the stars, I'm gonna try. Aside from that, there's not really much to say about her. She did her job, and she did it well. And that's LotusClan! The clan has gotten absolutely massive, which leads to some unfortunate news. We've exceeded 30 cats in the clan, which is the max clan size threshold I decided. So next year, expect disaster and death, because we're doing a manual mass extinction. Anyways, onto the other clans. There haven't been any changes to leaders yet. The Loudstar did lose a life to a venomous snakebite, putting her at 8. And Fernstar and J-Stripe had a litter of kits! Field Kit, Cow Kit, and Dog Kit, who I've nicknamed the Farm Kits. Sadly, Field Kit is down with green cough. I really hope she survives. I hate kit deaths. And Strike Kit Clan has already lost 1 kit, Tiny Kit, to the same illness. Deputies! We have had a change here. Firefluff chose to retire, and then died unceremoniously of yellow cough like a moon later. So he's in the Dark Forest now for his numerous crimes. And then Mossy Star chose his mate Ember to be the new deputy. I used to think Mossy Star was an innocent party in the Laurel Clan coup drama, but now I'm not so sure. Medicine Cats. Despite already having 3, Strike Clan now has Medicine Cat number 4, a shameless Tom named Lola. He has natural intuition and was formerly a rogue. Zinnia Tiger and Sleek Goose became mates, and Zinnia Tiger is now righteous instead of compassionate. Not much new is going on with the other clans. Pod Dash is still only the Weasel Clan Medicine Cat, Sharp Bee is still concerning, the usual. And I finally remembered to draw Mediators this year. Mediator. Ossipeck of Strike Clan is still the only one. I based his design off a sheep, since apparently Ossipeck is a type of cheese made from sheep's milk. The more you know. And that's all for year 3 of LotusClan. Kind of a ride. Hopefully year 4 will be quicker, but unfortunately I can't guarantee anything. Anyways, see you next time. Bye!